He did so, and the negotiations continued throughout the evening with him talking for 10, 20, 30 minutes at a time, then having a break, and either he calling us or us calling him.
I want to assure myself that everybody in there is okay. Are they all okay at the moment?
Yeah, well, I've been giving them a cup of tea and...
You gave them a cup of tea. Where are they at the moment?
Juice. I can't tell you that.
Well, okay. They're okay. I take it nobody's been harmed?
They're on a double bed at the present.
Right. Nobody's been harmed?
No one's been harmed.
Okay. You say that are all three persons in the same room?
Yes.
Okay, and there's nobody hurt at this stage?
No, not at all, no.
What about yourself? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
The Joint Intelligence Group gathered data and began to put a name to the gunman, together with his background, family, friends and contacts. Logistical support and the task of setting in place relief for those who had already carried the burden of the past 12 hours began, with shift changes and meal breaks. As personnel were relieved, they were provided with critical incident stress debriefing.
The immediate reactions were many and varied, I think it's best to say. A lot of people had some degree of difficulty coming to terms with the enormity of the incident and also the realism of the incident.
The concerns for me in the decision-making I had to go through was I was very mindful of the fact that there was possibly 3 people in the house. I had to decide were they alive? If they were alive, did I allow them to be burnt alive or to be consumed in the fire? Did I send the SOG in? The immediate action plan that had been presented me with a very difficult decision, because their estimate of casualties was in excess of 30%, which is a huge number of police officers to lose in an assault. So I had to balance up the advice I was getting as to the likelihood of the people still being in, the hostages still being alive, or risking the lives of further people to an effect an arrest and maybe rescue the hostages in a burning house.
Special Operations Group Commander Hank Timmerman.
Members were shot at in the positions that we held around the stronghold continuously. So we waited till the cover of darkness. When we did start to move closer, in fact one of our observers got to within about 75 metres of the stronghold, we were then informed via the negotiators that Bryant could see one of our marksmen in the field. Now, we weren't sure how we could see him, and so one of our first thoughts was that he had night vision capability with his firearms, so that made it a little bit more tense again. As it turns out, and we've since found out, what had occurred was there's a little red transmit button on the radios that we use, and the radios actually sit on the back, so that the top of the radio is on the shoulder, and with the marksman laying down, that little red light, which is supposed to be covered over, it was one of those things that was forgotten, and the little red light, when there was some transmission taking place, lit up, and that's what we believe Bryant actually saw and took a shot at.
At the end of the day, I'm satisfied that we made the right decision in fact waiting and forcing him to come to us as opposed to vice versa.
A person has been taken into police custody, conveyed to the Royal Albert Hospital, suffering from burns, no gunshot wounds. He will, we expect, appear before the court later today or tomorrow, so we obviously can't comment on motive or anything else like that, but I'm happy to make Mr. Fielding, who was the forward commander in charge of the operation down here, available to answer your questions about how the situation unfolded, and then we'll talk about how we'll facilitate your opportunity as media to get a look at the house, which has been destroyed by fire, burnt to the ground, and then to progress on to some of the other sites that will be obviously of interest to you.
It became necessary during the course of the morning to identify the fact that the media were expressing such considerable interest in attending the scenes that we should facilitate that. So it became imperative that as soon as the crime scenes were cleared from a scientific perspective and an evidentiary perspective, that we allowed them access. And we did that by making 2 coaches available to transport them through the scene, and in a very ordered way they were given access to each of the sites at which the various murders had occurred, and under very strict guidelines were entitled to film the sites where the bodies had been located.
A young lady was driving the vehicle behind me, leaving this area, And the offender has driven along the road, heading towards the last scene that we were at, and has fired through the passenger side front window of the vehicle and struck the driver, fatally wounding her. So this vehicle here is available for you if you want to just take a few shots of it, and then we'll move on to the next site.
John Radler of CNN wrote to the Commissioner of Police saying, "The access, cooperativeness and forthrightness of police to speak with the media was excellent, as good as we have encountered anywhere in the world, and significantly better than most places. I rate Tasmania Police's performance vis-a-vis the press in the Port Arthur shootings a 99 out of 100.
Last night, with young police officers standing guard on these scenes, you can imagine